Talk to the Stones. You got Prophet Station Radio. That's Jim, producer Jim on the guitar. Got Michelangelo. Producer Jim, what are we talking about today? What are we even talking about today?
Cyborgs.
Yeah.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling high tea today. I got a lot of squats in yesterday, and today I'm just feeling so powerful. And and I did it without any mechanical interfacing with my organs.
How are you, Michael?
I'm doing good, man. Been busy. As they say around here, another day in paradise. A little bit with a painful...
a little burn on the edge.
A little singe to it.
Southern male depression has such an interesting mouthfeel to it.
It has no outlet beyond being a man, you know?
Right.
It's all diverted into the identity of a man. So.
A long-suffering man. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I had to work for every penny I ever made, and people stole most of it from me.
That's right.
Yeah, that Merle song, you know, paraphrasing, I've worked every day of my life and I've got nothing to show for it. I forget. It's a great song. I ordinarily would remember the lyrics, but...
Is that a Merle Travis or Merle...
Merle
what's
Haggard.
the other one? Haggard, yeah.
Working Man Blues.
There she is.
Such a great last name for a outlaw country singer appealing to a blue-collar audience. Haggard.
Sure.
Golly.
They don't make them like that anymore.
Pretty good one, though, I feel like, for really any field, you know? Okay, that's
Haggard.
good. God damn it,
Yeah.
I'm swinging and I'm missing.
But you know what? At least you're swinging.
Yeah, I'm at bat, baby.
Yeah, what's the guy in... Isn't there someone named something similar in Harry Potter?
Hagrid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Hagrid.
Hagrid, yeah.
Merle Hagrid.
Yeah.
a big head.
And then isn't there that comic strip, The Wizard... There's the Wizard of Id, but there's Hagar the Horrible, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's sick. Hagar the Horrible.
Merle Hagar the Horrible. That's good. Yeah.
What about Sammy Haggard? You know, like Sammy Hagar?
That's good.
Yeah.
Sammy Hagrid Jr.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The Horrible. Dude, he's really got it all. You know, and this is the future we look forward to with biomechanical and electrical enhancements, as well as eventually the singularity.
100% recall.
Yeah.
So you
Of
can
all
do
human history.
schizophrenic name jokes for as long as you want.
Right. Well, you don't even do them. Just everyone is at once the same.
That's right.
And they
You just
exist. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I wonder, like, the singularity, like, I just want to take y'all's gut feeling on this. So, you know, at the end of Fifth Element, Lilo, which, it is Lilo, right? Like Lilo and Stitch. It's like the same name.
Is it? I would think it would end in
It's spelled
A
differently.
sound.
Oh.
Yeah. Lilu. I think it's Lilu.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
go.
that just sounds like some
We
sort
almost-
of Irish nursery rhyme. But you know, she watches the slideshow called War, and then she responds with tears streaming down her cheek. What do you think will happen collectively to the consciousness, to the human consciousness, when the switch is turned on for the singularity, including, you know, all of the internet? What physical response do you think a person would it be a tear, or what would it be?
Suicide.
Just everything in aggregate.
I think it's tears and smile.
Like that emoji.
Yeah, you know how the kids now, for laughter, they do the crying, the direct streams of tears down crying. That's
I don't
laughter.
text kids. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. They say it's uncool to do the laughing with the little tears squirting out.
Oh yeah.
They just do the crying with the like direct waterfalls. I think that will have some part to play in the singularity, perhaps.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna post that emoji for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Michael?
I don't know.
Eggplant.
There we go. Yeah. Well, you got to think there's some pretty dark places on the web, you know.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
There are also some pretty sexy places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They've got some stuff on here on this web that will really get you going.
Yeah. There's that.
Yep.
What's that podcast? PSR. I think it's got three really hot dudes on there.
Not while I'm
That's
trying
right.
to pod, brother.
Yeah, honestly, what I don't understand what is a singularity. I know it's supposed to be something big.
Yeah, so in this context, I mean, like, we're all, our brains are neurally connected to the internet and all human knowledge and also one shared consciousness. And then in this dramatic moment, Donald Trump presses the power on button, and then immediately we all share one consciousness of all living human beings, and we have all of the knowledge of the internet.
Okay. God. What a frightening thought.
Yeah.
It might be cool too. You know,
Yeah.
you get to hang. It's like a really powerful way to hang with your friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Because I was thinking, like, I feel like Star Trek, they're overdue for a new movie anyways, but like a film from the Borg perspective, because they're demonized in the Star Trek universe, and I think that it could be not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the episodes where Jean-Luc Picard becomes Borg.
Locutus, yeah.
Yeah, little cutie.
Yeah.
Little cute ass mother.
He didn't seem sad. I mean, he seemed deeply alienated from his human self, and he did have that. Remember the tear
Yes.
that showed you that was dramatically showed you that he was still in there. But yeah, I don't know. The Borg kind of had something going on.
Yeah.
7 of 9 is hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, she's no longer Borg, or how does that work?
Well, yeah, I think she, having been Borg, she had cybernetic modifications, but she was unplugged from the hive mind. I've never watched a single episode of Voyager. That's just what I'm speculating from what you just said.
Here we go.
I've seen Voyager when I was a younger man. I saw some Voyager. It's fun. It seems sexist that the one when they had a female captain, the storyline was they're so lost. They got so lost.
They keep
That's the
wrecking
whole
into
concept of the
asteroids. What the hell?
Yeah.
I bet Nick Mullen has made that joke now that I say it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that a lot of people
I'm a
have.
disgrace.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm sure that many other people have made the joke. Well, if she's 7 of 9, I'm 6 of 9. Or I'd
Very good.
Or what about like I'd 6 of 9, 7 of 9. I do know one of my favorites. So, relatively early in before AI, someone did the deviant art of putting Dolly Parton in Borg regalia and cybernetic attachments, and the caption was 5 of 9 or 9 of 5, right?
Dude, shout out Dolly Parton. I was walking around an open air, it's like strip mall place. It was just one of these god awful forsaken parts of the American landscape. But Dolly Parton's Lil Rock was playing, and I was like, I lived there once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anyone on the PSR team lives there currently. I wouldn't give away that kind of information, though.
If they did.
Don't worry, Michael. I got your back.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
What the hell is a cyborg then?
Yeah, let's get into it. So I went to one of my favorite websites, Merriam-Webster.com, typed in cyborg, a person whose body contains mechanical or electrical devices and whose abilities are greater than the abilities of normal humans is their definition. Which I would like to just get your feelings about that definition. If there are any specific words in there that maybe need clarifying, or like, how do you feel about that as a working definition for what is a cyborg?
I have one immediate thing that comes up that is sort of not a critique so much of the Merriam-Webster definition, because I think it makes a helpful caveat that like a cyborg isn't being brought to what would be considered normal standard. The idea is that it extends the ability. I think that's a great caveat. But I also noticed there are these questions I started to have about, well, is my cell phone, if it's on me and connected at all times, am I sort of a cyborg? These kind of questions. And then I realized when I think of cyborg, aesthetically, I have an image from science fiction in mind, and I think that's actually part of my knowing of what a cyborg is. That's important is that, it involves some kind of sci-fi element to it. It's like sort of advanced or futuristic. So there's ways I could imagine mechanical devices that are actually quite primitive, improving human performance, at least in specific ways, but that wouldn't quite feel cybernetic to me, or cyborgian, or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking too, is like that's a pretty loose definition. And yeah, I feel like that could be true of many people today, just with prosthetics and all that.
Yeah, for sure. When I read that definition, a couple things caught me. Anytime I see the word person, I think about, definition for that. But, mechanical or electrical devices, I think a lot of the Gestalt, at least, I mean, most of the usage we've seen of the word is in the context of sci-fi. And it's almost always like got crazy electrical stuff going on. Mechanical alone is someone with a titanium femur, a cyborg.
Sure.
It wouldn't necessarily fit into my, like, when I picture a cyborg, but by this definition it would. And I don't know. I don't know whether, I don't take issue with that, but that's just,
I wonder what what people with prosthetics would think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jim shared a crazy article by someone who thought a lot about that. She was mad.
Yeah, we shall post the article in the show notes, and it is written by one Jillian Weiss, who is a poet in her own right. She is disabled. She has prosthetic legs, and they do get like pretty fancy these days. I actually learned quite a bit. After reading her article, like what the hell's going on with the? Damn, that's a. But she writes very poetically. I will say her prose is gorgeous and made me interested in her poetry.
Nice.
But the article is describing how she got a newer prosthetic leg. The big selling point to her was that it had a second battery, so she could charge one and then bring it along, and she basically didn't have to be plugged into the wall while charging her leg. And she found the new one just in terms of integrating it into her mobility, not as comfortable and intuitive as her previous one, and decided to return to the previous one. Yeah, first I just wanted to mention she had a quote from someone else, from an artist named Suzanne Sinclair, which I really loved in the original context, which is art. She described painting with egg tempera. She said that there is a time element. It takes 6 months to cure, so even if you're done with the painting is not done with you. And I thought about even if it's not egg tempera and or it's been over 6 months, our relationship to material objects that are relatively unchanged, our relationship to them does change. And I thought that was just a interesting thing to ponder. Jonathan, It sounded like you were going to...
I really like that quote too. Something that it reminds me of in a lot of creative disciplines, they'll refer metaphorically to, like, I need to let the paint dry on this one, or like before you let the paint dry, in other words, I need to get this done before it sort of gets set. I just like, I liked the way that that's kind of connected to this greater, this greater meaning of drying paint. I don't know. Anyways. Something that really stuck with me, that she refers to people, and maybe I'm jumping ahead. We let me know if I am, but she refers to people who want to become cyborgs who are not disabled as tryborgs. Mm-hmm. Because her central argument is that if you're disabled and you have prosthetics or other of these like devices, then you're sort of already living this cyborg life. And that I really connected to, this idea that for her, her leg is her leg. It's her. It fits into her body schema. I got ChatGPT to teach me that today. It's called a body schema. Like the literal, in her mind, the way she expects her body to be in the world. It's so intimate in a way that if I wear some kind of prosthesis that would expand my abilities, it wouldn't necessarily be so intimate for me. So I got that, but then there was something I resisted about that frame of the Tryborg, because it seems fun and adventurous to be hooking yourself up to machines and seeing what that frontier is like. That seems cool. I don't know. It seemed unnecessarily conflict driven or something. But right. I imagine she has like way more perspective on it than I do. So
yeah, it does feel slightly derogatory though.
Yeah, I agree. And as you were saying that, I was trying to think if I had any sort of thing that I might be able to frame in a roughly analogous kind of way. And, I thought about my eyesight. I have very poor eyesight. I wear contact lenses nowadays. I wear glasses here and there. I used to be a glasses wearer. And do people who wear glasses be cyborg? What do y'all think?
I get, by our definition, if you get better than 20/20 vision, I think so.
I did with one pair.
Really?
Well, what if you go from...
I did.
Oh, okay.
2015, yeah.
Wow.
Even going from whatever you are before glasses to after, that's still an improvement, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I was thinking about, in this case, like, she's sort of like stolen valor shaming Elon Musk and stuff like, but I thought about like, and me as someone who has very poor eyesight, I've often joked, half joked, I think, depending on the circumstances, it would very much be the case that if I were some early human and I had to do hunter gathering out in the forest, my eyesight is so abysmal that unless my community was willing to feed me, like I would not be fit in a survival sense. And, that really without my vision correction, I would be in shambles. And that made me wonder, like, does someone whose eyesight is not that bad, can they really ever truly understand the relationship that I have to vision correction? And it's absolutely not something that I even hardly think about. I put my contacts in when I wake up and I take them out before I go to bed. But it is, like, do they have, would they be able to fully understand what it means to rely on this piece of technology in order to be a legal driver among, just as an example?
I don't think so, because I've put on different people's glasses, and each time, for me, it always feels obviously disorienting, but also kind of surreal that people need something so strong, because some glasses are obviously wildly strong. You put it on, you get a headache or something. So for me, it feels like I just can't really imagine what that would be like.
The closest I can think of is I had to have life-saving dick reduction surgery.
Right.
That's the closest I can.
That was part of it.
Say it, Michael. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that was part of the part of your transition, or what, man?
Nice.
But
yeah, I'm sure the trans community will love to hear that one, Michael.
Are they cyborgs?
I was thinking about this with mechanical. Do hormones count as like mechanical devices? So if people who use steroids to get jacked, or they put in hormones to, I don't know, achieve various effects in their body, that's kind of does that count as mechanical?
I feel like at some point it starts to lose its meaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're including so much, it seems like it's hard to talk about, because people come to the conversation with different ideas than this very loose definition.
I read some discussion of whether medications that affect levels of neurotransmitters would make a person's mind at least cyborg, and I think hormones would fall into that same category for me. But I also I feel like perpetually having a cell phone in one's hand feels more cyborg than being on medication or hormone for me.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
I did find one though that I think works with the mechanical device: breast implants.
God bless
and
him.
it says mechanical device. Mechanical just means motion and shape. So I don't see biological enhancements or alterations from organic matter as violating that definition either.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. So then I think that these ponderings have me realize is that actually whether what working definition we might come to maybe could be fiddled with, but we all actually have a sense of what we mean by this exciting frontier of the cyborg, and also terrifying in certain ways. And that there's almost a way that the definition might have to catch up to that frontier of thinking, but actually it's the frontier that is interesting. It's like the Dude, what is coming now? We have Neuralink. Like, we have, if you lose your legs, you can get prosthetic legs that you can literally win the Olympics with, the legs. Or like, you'll have better legs. There's, and then there's all of these, like, Jim, you shared with us a video of, that one guy Warwick or something.
Yeah,
there's
Kevin Warwick.
Yeah, there's like all of these things we can do now that are possible. I don't know how available they are to everyone, but some stuff is becoming available now. I don't know. To me, that frontier is what's exciting, and a definition that's a little too broad or doesn't quite capture that excitement feels, it's
I feel.
useful.
I appreciate that, and that made me think just generally, like, some things, like having a specific definition and then trying to classify objects by that definition, it makes more sense. But other things, a lot more like, just some things have a sort of guideline. There's a category of, if you have to ask yourself if it is, then the answer is yes. And there's some that you have to ask yourself if it is, that means no. And there are very well cases in the world of research going on where you ask anyone and they're like, oh, fuck yeah, and it's scary. But yeah.
Dude, this is a total tangent, but I love this, like, some definitions, if you have to ask, it's a yes, and if you have to ask, it's a no. That's so interesting to me. I want to think of what are some ones that are this, if you have to ask, then it is.
Yeah,
in that category.
I think of various types of transgressions, and particularly with sexual violence was my first thought.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you're the victim and you ask yourself, like, did this person violate me in some way? That was my first thought there. But some other that maybe aren't as
Like dark.
dark. Yeah.
Maybe there's something else for our comedy podcast.
Sure. Like, yeah, I think if you have
Pick
to,
up.
I think if you have to ask yourself if you're having fun, the answer is no. But if you have to ask yourself if today is a good day, then the answer is yes.
If you have to ask yourself if you are gay, then yes, you are.
Obvious.
Sure. That's yeah.
Which is fine.
Better.
Which we support. It's not a problem.
cyborgian in that it's better than normal.
What is normal? That's an issue that I should have taken with the definition, huh?
For
yeah,
sure.
there we go. A good left-wing analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you have, is this proto-fascism? Yes.
Yes.
I was gonna name one case where one exception, but I don't really want to be put on blast for it.
Is this assassination attempt real? No.
Sure.
If you have to ask, no, it is not.
Yeah. Does that count as a beard?
Oh, that's got to be hard to hear, Michael.
Oh no, I wasn't.
okay, it's okay.
No, definitely didn't have anyone in mind for that. Yeah.
What else is there?
Yeah, I'm getting slightly like the feeling that y'all are, and this is just a story, but that y'all are more supportive of sort of cyborg-esque advancements than I am.
Do you want to go first, Jonathan, or do you want me? Because I'm locked and loaded.
Okay, go, baby, go.
Well, anything's better than humans the way they are.
Oh.
Scourge of the earth.
I mean,
Absolute bane of the universe. any shot we have of making an excuse for us to continue perpetuating.
Damn.
I mean, yeah.
Just kidding.
To a
folks.
degree, I sympathize with that, but it's, I don't know. Jonathan, what do you think?
I'm gonna say some things that might sound offensive, so you gotta let me get to the end, or like hear me out, or just if I say something that sounds bad or something, then just pretend I didn't say that and I said the thing that would have been good.
That you would most want in life. I said that.
Yeah, exactly. And it really, and I said it well too. My friend recently got top surgery and has been taking testosterone for many months now. And they got top surgery. And I was hanging out with them as they were, like, while they were in recovery. And as I was, like, interacting with them, I was just appreciating how sci-fi it really was, all of this.
Sure.
Like, they have explored this from a really interesting place of self-knowing and using tools that weren't available not that many generations ago. I mean, we're talking, you know, until very recently, their understanding of how they want their body composition to be and how they want to explore life couldn't have been realized, actually. And just sitting there and being just really appreciating the way that they were able to go on this adventure. And I get that a lot of people have these concerns about adjusting the body in a way. It really seems to complicate our relationship to God's gift to us, this body, I think, or nature's gift, or however you want to think about that. But I couldn't help sitting there with my friend and think, like, damn, I'm happy I get to live in a time where these adventures are possible. And I connect that really with the cyborg stuff. That, yes, cyborg stuff is scary. Yes, there will be dimensions of corporate ownership that some people will fall into that are going to be really scary and terrible. And you're going to not be able to pay for your subscription to your arm or whatever. And then it's going to be, in some cases, it's going to be really bad. But the fucking adventure we're on is
the Repo
crazy.
Man. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so cool. And, like, the thing about life is some parts of it are shitty and some parts of it are incredible. And, like, dude, we live in the time where we become cyborgs. That's so sick. I mean, yeah, that's maybe a very childish place to come from, but that's my sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I want to be quick here because I want Michael to respond to us. But I definitely want to add the really cynical perspective that, this stuff is being created in the late stage capitalism phase of our current dominating economic structure, and there's all kinds of things that are potentially problematic about that. But, on the flip side, like, it is, are we tampering with God's creation? Is this, like, evil or wicked, or is it doomed to be bad? I don't know. Like, people can have their views on that. But it is exciting. And people have been doing things that were, like, wildly ambitious and crazy for their era, as long as there have been people. And if this is what we get to see, and it has, like, electronics and computers involved, and it makes our senses better, that's something that humans, of all the bloody sacrifices and awesome costumes and rituals and things, that's a first.
I sympathize with all of it, I feel like. And rationally, I mean, I do agree. It's obviously wildly exciting, if just imagining, like, what could be. it seems amazing. Like to have literal like eagle eye ability, you know, to see, that's pretty sick. You know, being able to run at like 50 miles an hour sounds incredible. So yeah, I think it is exciting in that regard. I'm much less excited about any sort of access to internet, or
Yeah.
or even like communication through thought. That I find, I guess, repulsive. But I do kind of agree, I guess, with Jim's initial statement, which was maybe not the brightest thing, but you know, it's like anything to improve. I'm sorry, not the brightest,
No.
not brightest in the sense of like happy. You know, it's like
Sure.
it's dark. But at the same time, I don't think technology is the thing that's going to change us. You know, I think that's just a further step in the wrong direction. And if I'm being honest, something about this drive to alter human ability or capacity without first even taking advantage of what's already within us feels like, and I hate to use the word because it's such a strong word, but it legitimately feels this way to me, like evil. It feels like it's not only not good, but it's like horrible.
I really feel that I feel like you coming from that angle, I'm sort of stepping to this other side of the dimension, or like it's just like a different side of the diamond. And
Yeah.
I'm really with this. Like, a lot of spiritual practitioners for thousands of years have done things like cultivate telepathic abilities.
Oh yeah, and
Sure.
yeah, sure. Taken, communed with teacher plants.
Yeah, and so connecting through thought is something that human beings can do through non-machine ways, but that requires certain disciplines, and it's usually held in traditions where you're not just getting an ability, you're developing this connection to the cosmos, this connection to your fellow humans, this connection to nature. It's really embedded in all of this wisdom and spiritual development that goes so beyond just, oh, we can be telepathic, or and
Right.
technology offers us the ability to do that completely unconnected to wisdom, completely
Right.
unconnected to God, completely unconnected to our role as the gardeners and caretakers of Garden Earth. So it's like, that is kind of what I'm connecting to what you're saying from, like, through the
sure.
language I might use. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the gist of what I was, getting at.
Yeah, that brought up a couple things for me. One is one's a great segue into the cybernetic stuff that has been happening. That is like, smells like a cyborg, tastes like a cyborg, whatever else you're supposed to do to a duck. Oh yeah, and that's kind of not that I had like a premonition or anything, but that's sort of what I was getting at with just your ballpark or your gut
Sure.
feeling of what will happen when the singularity turns on, presuming it does. That is, I think the answer to that question will determine whether and not necessarily just the singularity, but the net good of what we've been up to. I think that if it is net positive, then whatever, sacrificing the existence of individuality and putting it all together would be generally a very good thing. And I'm not saying that's the thing that I want. There are a lot of things that, are good that we don't deserve, or things that we can express, that we appreciate are good or better, but are not what we choose.
Yeah.
That has me think about with cyborg implants and different advances. Something you just said, Jim, that it has me think that, yes, there are really bad potential outcomes that become available, but my anxiety about that drains to zero when I think of, but I could use it to do a lot of crazy great stuff, or for my loved ones in my community. Like, what's my responsibility in making the cyborg future good is me doing it in a way that I think is good for the future and for, I guess, also just for the now. So it's just responsibilities I didn't really know was really going to be part of being a man when I was growing up, but here we are. Part of being a man is knowing how to be a good, upstanding cyborg.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think connecting everyone to instantaneously have the ability to communicate by thought is very different than all of the other possibilities. Sure. I think, where did I put this in here? Was this, I don't remember if it was just a thought that I had, or maybe I put it somewhere else. But the idea of singularity. Oh, no, it's because I was crafting a joke at the expense of polycules. But the idea of, no, we love them, folks, don't we?
And they love each other so much. If you're listening and you've got a polycule, DM me about my joining specifically, is what I'm getting at. But it was the idea that sure, there is this old end of humanity that is a full singularity, but what about local area network singularities and or plug-in unplug singularities, and and then you could get into all of the logic gate stuff of a plug-in unplug singularity. Once you plug in, would you ever have the volition to unplug, stuff like that. But whoa. You're never leaving this LAN party.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, heaven on earth. Sign me up.
Dude, that's so true. It's tech that communes could use to, all right, let's have a meeting, and you just plug in, and then you're swimming in the community mind, and then meeting is adjourned, you unplug. Why not that? Yeah. We plug in and then we turn it on, and immediately all of the females in the polycule throw their drinks at me, and I just but yeah, for sure, that could be a really, and for running corporates more ruthlessly at the expense of the public in more egregious ways for the profit margin. Yeah, there's all kinds of boardrooms. You could plug in sharks to be part of it, to be more ruthless, and
that would be awesome. Yeah. I actually, so I thought of it as a joke. Or I presented it as a joke in a context. But I looked up, and the restrictions of what animals could be, not service animals, but emotional support animals, are extremely broad. Basically, if it's legal to be a pet, it could be designated an emotional support. Granted, the privileges of an emotional support animal are very few. But I was thinking about getting an emotional support tarantula, and how badass that would be. Hell yeah. Yeah. But do we have any more thoughts on kind of that chain there, or should we get into some of the Tryborg updates?
Tryborg update.
Okay, yeah.
No. I want to hear
that's
Michael
good, that's
because
good.
I saw Michael. At times, I was trying to mind read Michael, and I was thinking that he was becoming disgusted by the
Dude,
limited hangout
Yeah.
singularity stuff.
no, I mean, I think even for like
yeah.
podcasting, it doesn't have to eliminate one's like personality. It certainly doesn't remove their physical frame. But like if we all plugged in, we could get the pacing, and I wouldn't have to ask questions like
Right.
that. But
It
continue.
would
Michael.
reduce how much editing it takes. For these
Well,
episodes,
I mean, what
guys.
if or you would just become aware that you're deliberately increasing how much editing you. Yeah. But yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess to Jonathan's point is just like there's a responsibility that is inherent in that sort of changing of human nature. I mean, I would say because there are totally aspects of it that seem so practical that it's like it would make life easier, and that's what we want of our tools, right? We want tools to make life easier. But at the same time, if it's like your phone. Does your phone make your life easier? I mean, sure, in some ways it does, but I don't think life is better with phones. And I don't think we're meant to have that type of technology. I don't think we're meant to be as connected as we are with our phones or as distracted, and I just cannot imagine any sort of cyborg. I see it's hard to say cyborg because we're talking about it in a way that's that prosthetics can make you a cyborg, and so that's different. But I feel like there's a threshold where I just outright reject any further advancement as far as like especially mind stuff. And I don't know, I feel like maybe if you'll have questions, I'll be able to better describe it, as a reaction. But where the threshold lies, where it's like too much, I think that's for each person, obviously. But as a society, it's so fucked to continue down this technological advancement. I don't feel like in general it's a good thing. And I'll totally admit that it does get into a gray area for sure whenever it comes to like, people who are disabled in one way or another getting access to. Okay, yeah, but even that, I feel like there's a line that can be crossed that I just outright would say is bad, really bad.
I'm curious about if there's a fear there, or if there's some. I guess I'm connecting to like the idea of the smartphone being on us all the time.
Sure.
And the ability to order DoorDash and text people whenever. There's ways that makes a lot of things easier in a sense. Right. And then it's also part of this undermining of a whole way of life that as it's crumbling, we start to really wonder, I don't know, maybe online dating was a bad idea. Maybe relating all through social media was a bad idea. I don't know.
Right.
And but part of that though is it destructive or inherently, or do we just need to build back in the wisdom traditions and do we just need to learn the wisdom to hold this stuff? Because there's also this way that we also live like adolescence so much. I mean, so many people now kind of have this adolescent existence that
rules.
is that the real problem? I don't know, because I see people who are I mean, I'm extraordinarily happy all the time. I have a smartphone. I don't, it doesn't make it impossible for me to be happy.
That like kind of ties into the the reality that if a enhancement were to become widely distributed, it would be through the existing capitalist system, and they'll make it in a way that makes people want it. And same with a lot of the internet, and you just look at like with the early internet, the volume of pornography versus other topics and stuff like that. It's like we can't really blame the internet. That's what people wanted to put on
For
it.
sure. Totally.
And with these other whatever hypothetical integrations of technology into our physical forms, I think I default to broadly the technology is neutral, but then my cynicism towards people makes me feel like it depends on how powerful it is, how bad it is, because a lot of people, not many people actively do evil with their smartphone. A lot of people actively waste time by their own account. And I think that the same would be generally true for something integrated into their body. It would be manufactured in a way that would be appealing to the same impulses, or I would even phrase it as like marketable vulnerabilities. Especially if like, oh, you have this deficit that a lot of people are self-conscious about, install this. The way that like fads and diets and all sorts of things targeted vulnerabilities, and advertising in general. But then, whether it's inherently bad, I don't think so. But I think that the system that we have, combined with what we see people using, the technologies that would have been the building blocks to this, or the precursors to it, it's like they're not really doing evil with it, but they're kind of wasting more of their time and definitely more electricity by having it.
Yeah, I mean, like in that sense, like what does it mean to waste your life? Is that evil?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's inherently to waste one life, but I mean, self-reporting cell phone users say that they waste a lot of time by looking at reels and stuff. So,
yeah, and I don't. Whenever I think about it less from an individual standpoint and more as a societal issue. And I don't necessarily think that it's like anything new, per se, because like even in mythology, there are humans gaining some sort of knowledge that is not for them, and I take that seriously in the sense, and it's so hard to say that and mean it 100%. Because that's what we do. We find knowledge and we build technologies, and that's like just kind of what we do. It's as much as who we are as making art. But at the same time, I still feel like there are things not meant for us. And I hold it in that same sort of like, I don't know, Prometheus. Or not is it? And then at the same time, you have Daedalus. What was kind of, because he was all about his thing was
dead ass.
That dead ass was.
Was that Icarus's father?
Yeah.
Is that his father?
Yeah.
Daedalus.
He also built the labyrinth.
Of the Minotaur.
That's right.
Yeah, well, he built the labyrinth, and he had that little mechanical bird type thing,
Right.
And so maybe he's like a contrast. I don't know Greek mythology super well, but maybe he's a contrast to Prometheus.
So what you just named like a bunch of, I don't know that well.
I couldn't tell you Daedalus's story.
Yeah. Well, to go back to what you had said, though, I had a couple things come up. I did fail to add something that I think is really important, which is that any advancement of this nature is going to be available in a very class-specific way, in a very inequitable kind of way. That definitely needs to be kept in mind for any forecast. And the other thing is, while I do appreciate the kind of philosophical perspective that you presented, and question of is this the kind of knowledge that humans just shouldn't have. There's without at all rejecting or diminishing that whatsoever. I think that is a very, like, the way that I think about it philosophically. But in terms of practical rollout, I think it's going to be a lot more like either some wealthy elite dystopian murder the poor sort of situation, or more likely it's going to be relatively inexpensive but still like expensive for the diminishing middle class type stuff that is going to be like wacky gadgets that you like are parlor tricks. And because I think of like, if you described in concept the internet to someone in the Victorian era that had telephones, and you're like, no, there's videos and information, and they might have imagined like a really utopian Renaissance kind of situation, not a TikTok full of pantomime, like not even karaoke, but just lip syncing and and all that kind of, and like a meme for a president, and like that's So I think like an actual rollout would be a lot dumber and a lot more mundane and a lot less spectacular than a very fair philosophical discussion would suggest.
Yeah, totally. No, I agree with that too. I mean, I do. That's kind of like I don't know. It's hard to express exactly how I feel about it. So
yeah,
there are a lot of really cool aspects of it, though. I mean, how cool would it be to be able to just like even the Prometheus or Daedalus thing, and just be like, yeah, what is that? And you just do in your head, get it all figured out.
Yeah, well, I have like a pretty classy sig into some actual research that has happened. Are we ready for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
is that a bit, or is that one of the ways to pronounce Segway?
How did I say it?
Sieg.
Yeah, you did.
No, sig is a different word from Segway.
Oh, really? What is it? I've never heard that word.
Sieg?
I mean, I've smoked them. I've smoked them.
Oh yeah, smoking.
I've smoked plenty of Siegs.
Yeah.
What is the word?
Jamaica.
Teach me. How do you spell it?
I think SEGUE.
Oh,
is this a Mandalorian effect?
Segway.
Oh, right.
I thought that was pronounced Segway.
No, Segway is a different word I mean, it's also like the dopiest, like most punchable set of wheels you can have.
That is true.
But yeah, as we debate the morality, potential dangers, implications, practical possible benefits of communication without thought. The one case when GOAT Kevin Warwick actually expressed kind of reservation or discomfort, and he did do it in context of a joke. So this is a professor at University of Reading in the UK. He's done a number of cybernetic experiments, several of which he was the subject. He's just like, doesn't give a shit, kind of like badass. He's like, yeah, put it in my arm and let's see. And he's done things like, he had a chip implanted in his arm that detected impulses from his motor neurons that then controlled a robotic hand. And when he would close his hand, it would close the robotic hand. And he was able to communicate way back in like 2004, I think, across the internet of that era.
Right, the Atlantic.
Yeah, from Columbia University to his home university in Reading, and when he moved his hand, the hand closed itself. But I thought even more impressive for that demonstration was the fact that the robotic hand had pressure sensors installed that would return impulses of the force so that he could squeeze an object without crushing it. And it was able, whether it was across the Atlantic or not, having, figuring out which nerves are your motor nerves and sending off an offshoot of their electrical nerve to of their electrical signal to a robot thing is one thing, but then to get the pressure sensitivity feedback is I feel like a more not invasive, that's not the word that I want, but a deeper level of reaching into the neural system of people. And he was able to sense how much pressure was on this robotic hand, and that certainly we have our own sense of how much pressure is on our real hand, but that could not have been exactly the same sensation, in part because he had his two hands there right in front of him. And that part was really crazy. But the one part where one experiment he did where he expressed some discomfort was not when his wife, who also got an implant, when they were able to communicate motor information, motor senses to each other through their electrical nervous system through this connection. Is that, one could easily write, a code exists, Morse code and many others, where she could flick her wrist so many times and indeed send him verbal messages and things of that nature, which is pretty cool. And kudos to both of them for just being there was one time when he said if it gets really infected, I was doing it for science, he just didn't give a shit. But the one that he said made him a little uncomfortable was his wife had this necklace on that could shine either red or blue, and it was connected to a system that monitored his general brain activity, and when he was more excited, exercising or something of that nature, it would be a different color than when he was calm. And they expressed that was actually a little bit kind of eerie and uncomfortable. He made the joke that she'd know when I was excited, but then she would want to know who I was with. But
that's very funny. That's very funny.
So that was really neat. And then another, I think on the other side, instead of the enhancing human side, the using the astonishing plasticity and self-organization of organic neural networks, he put some rat brain neurons into a plate and connected it to a robot that could drive, and it had I don't know if they were infrared sensors or what, to tell how far it was from objects. And over a period of 2 to 3 months, these neural systems would learn not to run into boundaries and into other cars.
That's crazy.
On one hand, it's spooky and exciting to give humans extra abilities, but then to take actual brain matter and have it be the CPU of a robot is that's that's not the Borg, that's virus.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have to interrupt the flow here. I really apologize, guys. But I am a man with honor, and I have to protect my honor. And I just want to. I pulled up Merriam-Webster's. I just want you guys to hear this. Did you hear that?
Oh,
Could you hear that,
I
guys?
feel a
You
slight
guys-
sizzle.
They laughed. They laughed at him. They said ha ha ha. Sorry. Anyway.
Who's laughing now?
Who's laughing now? I had to defend my honor there. Dude, when I saw the
Let's see
when
here.
I saw the TED Talk, Jim is counter researching.
We're getting the rebuttal. One moment.
Yeah, 1 moment for rebuttal. Judges, await.
No, it's pronounced the same in the UK. Never mind.
Oh, you were gonna go UK pronunciation.
Jim, you're supposed to say no. See, it's different in the UK. Look it up.
Look it up, folks.
Problem is, I guess Jonathan did just look it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was maybe an American British difference.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
Oh, it's from Italian.
Italiano.
Italiano.
Well, then,
A spaghetti.
all
A
right.
segue to my penis.
Been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again.
I don't have that impact.
No, see, it's just like hip
Damn
slang.
it. I'm the heel. I was trying to defend myself, and then I turned into the bad guy. Fuck.
You know, it's just hip slang. Like, you know, instead of saying captain, you say captain, or you know, one of those like cool.
Right. Like
Urban-
instead of doing the laughing emoji that's laughing and crying, you do the crying.
Jonathan's trying to.
Michael, I'm trying to get back in the good graces of the
Old
PSR.
Hulk Hogan here.
I thought I was red and yellow Hulk, and instead I was Hollywood.
No, you all the black, baby.
Oh. Yeah. So back to business. I don't mean to derail us. Warwick, dude, him on the TED Talk, it's like they are putting these rat neurons on the dish, and then they're immediately kind of groping out, trying to find what's nearby. And I had this sense of how much neurons are just the fucking urge of life, the curiosity of life, reaching out and trying to find what's going on out there. There was something about it that felt so spiritual to me that, our neurons take that shape too.
That guy's research was amazing, and what was even more amazing was the date.
Right.
Yeah, video of him driving in the car when he's talking about it, that was 2002.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty insane, man. And also, I did get the sense that he took it, seriously. Obviously, he was doing the stuff to himself, but he did seem to know the danger of it too, which I appreciated, because I feel like at least a lot of tech nowadays doesn't necessarily come with the warning label attached to it. So.
If you make enough dollar bills, you can settle anything.
That dollar bill, baby.
But yeah, and I also appreciate he acknowledged there were cases in both the videos that I sent to you guys that he expressed is this potentially a really bad thing? Is there danger to this? Right. Yes. He's like, but similar to planting the thing in his arm, he's like, it's cool, it's fascinating, it's pioneering, it's innovating. I don't give a fuck, which I mean, he just had such an not even an inventor sort of, and because he's exploring. I mean, I guess he is inventing the specific devices and stuff, but it didn't feel as much of an inventor sort of core as it did like an explorer.
Yeah, totally. I think he even used that frame at one point as an exploring.
Yeah, it's something about bringing the confrontation between his body and even his consciousness in interfacing like that really does feel like an explorer.
Yeah, and it just seemed like that was his drive, and I think implicitly what he valued most, in that he like raised potential concerns for himself physically and for like ultimate consequences of this direction of research. But what was important was the discovery and the and I mean, I appreciate that in researchers in general, but he just seemed to have such a pure, curious motivation for doing it. And yeah.
It's like the opposite of the feeling I get when I read about Neuralink.
Neuralink,
and Elon
yeah.
Musk. It's like the opposite.
Sure. I was actually really surprised. I don't follow Neuralink at all. I was surprised to read about the case study, how positive the first recipient of Neuralink, how positive an experience he had with his outcome. And again, it is like a network of wires and stuff installed actually in his brain instead of in his forearm, but it's still, from what I gathered, relies on the motor pathway, which is like, if you're starting out and you're doing it, that's the one that we get it. There's a homunculus, a real actual little guy with his own independent consciousness in there, like being all weirdly proportioned. Right. But, you know, it's a system that, like, that is where you start. It's the most accessible.
Sure.
And, you know, so this recipient named Nolan Arbo, I don't know how to say these things. He became paralyzed from some sort of accident from the shoulders down as an adult, and he signed up to be the first recipient. He used, quote, attempted and imagined, unquote, or attempted and imagined movement, unquote, of his paralyzed body to move a computer cursor to play chess online and later play more sophisticated games. He now does public speaking and stuff, but he described like a sense of kind of dread if the restored at least ability to use computers were to go away for him, that it's become a very big part of his life, and that he's very grateful for having this return to him. And that made, because I like my not having looked, my knowing that Neuralink is an Elon Musk pursuit, I assumed it was a lot more evil, and that I'm sure that it is ruthlessly capitalist, but like. Yeah. They're doing it the way anyone would, motor neurons, and they didn't make it too crazy. They just made it able to control a cursor, and then, you know, and I'm sure that it is mapped as deliberately as, you know, moving your first finger is the X button, something in that sort of sense. And it's like, yeah, that's the way you do it, and that does provide function that people have lost, and that is, like, really great.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, this is a little bit different, but have y'all seen videos like where someone gains the color back in their vision? Mm-hmm. Whether, you know, I think there are glasses that do that for certain types of people, but I think there's also some sort of surgery or something. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, can you imagine having maybe had that at one point, or maybe never having had it, and then gaining it in the matter of, you know, just minutes and putting it on? It's like, what the fuck? That's it's pretty incredible for sure.
That reminds me of those videos of babies getting their cochlear implants turned on, and then they hear their mother's voice the first time, and like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think there's a certain horror about, especially paralysis. There's just a certain horror about that. That's so. Just imagining it is terrifying. Yeah. And it feels like being imprisoned in your own body, and then to have a way out, or to have some kind of solution set all of a sudden.
Right.
Woo! I mean, it's hard. I really appreciate the concerns around this being led by corporations is going to be a very brutal way to do this.
Yeah.
But then there's also the beauty of that, of what it can be done. It's hard, you know, you can't argue with that either. That the
yeah. Yeah, but I think the argument could be presented that like motor systems to be like set up to really simple electrical inputs to make relatively like that's where you would start. Give them a couple generations and you're gonna have people like drowning. Like we're gonna have a spike in emergency room visits for aspiration because people are just sitting around drooling, imagining videos of people's feet squishing soft foods or whatever. So I just think that this is they started exactly where they should.
Sure.
And they're
with
going to
a grain of
go
salt.
right where they should.
Oh, yeah. You thought deviant art was bad, which was actually a segue I want to take to another example.
Nicely said.
Thank you. I wonder if that's why they called the thing that.
Maybe, yeah.
There's an article that we'll link as well, and by we I mean Jonathan.
Get to work.
Just directly stimulating the optic nerve in mice. They trained some behavior using like a Skinner sort of vertical versus horizontal line, feedback like classical feedback schema to train them that when there were either lines one way that they saw, they would drink water, and if they were the other way, they wouldn't. And what this experiment was able to show was that by electrically stimulating the neural cortex, they saw the same trained behavior as when the mice saw it with their formed an image on their cornea.
Dude,
and
think of movies in the future.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
You're just fucking seeing it. That's what is here.
Seeing, hearing, smelling, all of it.
Oh yeah, and for all of our cyberpunk 2077 just abject losers whose entire identity is built on like imagining that they're net runners and posting AI images of themselves and that video game features a brain dance. It's a playback recording of someone else's experience, and this is the forerunner of that. Our sensory input, motor cortex is we have control there as well, but it also like the pressure stuff that Warwick was doing, our senses, that's the homunculus. And sensory inputs are like smell is kind of an exception because there are so many fucking olfactory receptors that bind with so many specific molecules. It's a madhouse in there, but the other ones are all really simple. We get mono twice for hearing, and that's one electrical signal that represents the magnitude and of the movement of our eardrum. So, like the idea of the brain dance in Cyberpunk 2077, having an experience that, in terms of senses, is indistinguishable from one corresponding to the actual present external world, is not that far-fetched as far as possible, like midterm, potentially short-term possibilities of this.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, though, of the psychosis that could bring about, because you wouldn't be able to move inside of it. Like, it wouldn't be like a video game. Now, you could do a video game, too, but then that's a whole other layer. But like if you're moving your hands and then it's not moving in the world that you see, and then you're doing like damage to the learning of how your body works, they'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah,
surely.
But I think even more of the psychological implications of having done it, because I don't know, when I watched the Cronenberg film Existenz, like I had ego dissociation for like 45 minutes after watching it, and like walking around felt weird, and like trying to talk to my friend that I watched it with was weird, and we were like laughing about how weird we felt from it. And that was just from watching a movie that like the ideas were kind of blurring reality and were kind of weird, and that fucked us up. But if I actually had like the full experience of, say, what's that guy's name? Something Sins, Johnny Sins, or whatever his name is. Just like
the porn star.
Yeah, sure. You know, and
Yeah.
and if they're manufacturing these, it could be anyone, just like plowing Putin or whatever. Like, how would you go back from believing,
Yeah.
you know, just having some really vivid, like, some experience that was indistinguishable from my normal sensory experience. Could
Right.
I ever return from that?
Right. And then what does that make possible? Dude, as propaganda, that starts to become real fucking scary.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, that would be,
Michael
you know,
is just like, see, I told y'all.
Here we go.
But they
That's
didn't
Chicken's
listen.
coming home.
that's the Matrix, right? That is
Yeah,
the
right.
Matrix.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because if that's connected into you, and then that's what, on Wi-Fi or something to get the signal to give you the movie, then or the brain dance, then yeah.
How
then it's
funny,
over.
yeah, how funny will it be when the robots hook us up to the machine if the reality that they give us, instead of being like a virtual reality where we feel like we have agency and stuff, we just watch the Matrix on repeat? I like to think robots will have senses of humor.
Right.
Yeah. We'll program them with senses of humor. What do we want to do we want to find a conclusion to our do you think we got cyborgs covered for now?
I think that there is top secret,
Here we
there
go.
is or are top secret programs that vastly exceed the sophistication of the ones that the public is aware of.
What do you think they can do that they're not saying? Do you have any place your bets. What do you think they can do right now?
I'm willing to bet there's some sort of exoskeleton type thing that you can wear to carry things that also has some sort of protection built into it.
Yeah, I think that's public, right?
Is it?
Are there mechs? Yeah, are there like really good mechs?
Yeah, Tex-Mex is okay. I prefer the authentic stuff.
Yeah, I gotta go with Tex-Mex on that one.
I think there are mechs now.
I think that goes back to like the idea of, as warfare becomes increasingly drone, and then we have drone versus drone wars, and then it'll just be whichever country has the more resources will win, and then combat will cease, and it'll just be whichever country has the most resources then becomes the one. I think mechs would be like in that direction, but yeah, I don't know. Are there mechs?
I don't know. Surely there are. Are there? I'm just gonna ask.
I mean,
Ecosia.
I guess whenever I remember seeing a prototype some maybe 10 years ago, but the thing looked, like shit. It was very impractical.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I guess I'm willing to bet they've perfected that to the extent that it is actually usable.
Dude, the BBC. This is a real BBC headline. Will we ever pilot giant robots? Sorry. Will we ever Poorly
That's
joined robots.
Oh, I'm gonna
Isn't
see.
it?
Ain't it?
Is that the name of the article?
Yeah.
Fish and chips.
Wait.
Will we ever poorly? Sorry. I like just getting in the rut and just being as annoying as fucking
for sure.
possible in those British accents.
Welcome to my life, man.
Will we
because it's-
ever?
Because it's BBC, you can do. I'm not gonna make that right now.
No, I looked for it. They don't do it for every article, and they didn't do it for this one.
Oh no.
I know. No, I don't see
No
what
one
you're
has to
laughing about.
know what we're talking about. I'm not laughing.
Why would they not?
I saw a joke on the internet that's not related, and it had me laugh. Oh wait.
Do they? Do they?
You're right.
But do they?
Yeah. Anyways, that got me good, and it's sad.
Yeah. But I do think that, like, for basic things like enhanced awareness of pilots, like, it's not that hard. You know, I mean, there's an extremely rudimentary implant that some people do just for the fuck of it. I just feel like this is an episode where the fuck word is getting said, so I'm kind of just saying it. But
Down.
you know, get yourself a little bar magnet, install it under your skin. If you're in a strong magnetic field, you'll feel it tugging. If you get in too big a magnetic field, it might be removed. You know,
Dramatic event.
yeah. But there are other things like, and you wouldn't even have to implant it to have an electrical system hooked up so that if there is something detected in like an zone, a pilot gets a more like a notification that is harder to ignore. You know, like the light sensor detects there's a bad guy in the vulnerable area, and the pilot gets maybe not like violently shocked, but something where it's not just a blip on a screen.
Right.
But you know, there's
Violently shocked, but yeah, I feel you. I mean, there's interesting ways that you can just gain extra senses really quickly that way. That's a really simple way to just have an extra sense.
It would suck if you're already aware of the thing that needs to be
Right.
dealt with, but you can't do anything, and it's progressively getting more and more intense.
yeah.
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 Yeah, I have this alarm clock
Yeah.
where the alarm it starts off relatively soft and ramps up in loudness, and I frequently will wake up not wanting to wake up and then watch the alarm click over to that time and it gets louder, and it sucks.
That's a cyborg implant, one that puts you to sleep and wakes you up. On
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
command. Yeah.
I mean, I'd go for that, I think. If I could get 8+ hours of sleep every single night,
Every night. How much are you clocking, baby?
not near that. Not close.
7?
No, probably I would think 6 on average.
Oof.
Ooh.
Bro, it's been brutal recently for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
I
why I'm
don't
so
even
haggard.
want to. Yeah. We got Merle over here. I don't even want to tell you how much I get a night. Don't even
I would
ask
love
me.
if you're getting 9. I'd love it, dude.
I get
What
it
are we hitting?
about 8.5.
That's awesome.
I get
Try to get
8.5.
9 as often as I can.
Yeah. Well, nothing makes for a better podcast than talking about our sleep.
Yeah, and you know there is no worse requirement of the human body. Oh well, I don't know. Having to eat is I hate it so much. But having to sleep is just like the dumbest thing. And
What the heck?
you know, actually, sleep might be worthy of an entire discussion because,
For sure.
yeah, the effects of sleep deprivation are very well studied and characterized, but the actual function of sleep is not well understood. And it's like, why the hell do we have to do? So, yeah, if I were to make a cybernetic enhancement, it would have something to do with not sleeping, something to do with cocaine. Just kidding, folks. But
Do it.
But if you do, let us know.
what about some sort of filtering, like a combination of dialysis and distillation to remove? You know, you sit in your car and it like scans you. It's like you are drunk, and then it does this thing where it takes out the parts of the blood that would be damaged by high heat. It distills out the alcohol and then returns it to you, and you're just.
That would be really
I mean,
good.
that's that'd be like you wouldn't even need a RoboCop. Yeah. Think of the lives that would be saved. You know, and
RoboCop is an alcoholic, and he has that installed, so he can.
yeah.
Don't worry, I'm good to drive.
Yeah.
He just pisses out pure alcohol.
Yeah.
Saves it for later.
But
Could be a good nightcap.
that could really save lives. And like if you're it's costly to go to dialysis, but if you had something portable like in the car and you could just blast it and get out those toxins, you'd live longer. And I was kind of joking when I said it to my friend a couple months ago, because they were talking about like having to go in to do an appointment, and like the person, the receptionist was actually kind of confused, like asked my friend why she was so excited to be there. And it was actually the nature of the reason that she was there was the reason she was excited, but it was also a form of preventative care. And she asked me, like, what would you have said if this person asked you, like, why are you happy to be here to have like this examination done? And I said, well, I think everyone should be excited about preventative care, and I really do. Like, I could just rant on and on about the problems with this country and this society, but having dialysis built into your car has two benefits. It's preventative care for liver disease, and it eliminates drunk drivers over a certain income level.
The future. That is just so precisely, I think, what Michael was talking about earlier about the dangers of human progress, and how it's like, rather than learn how to live without the demon rum, isn't that what?
That's a normal.
Rather than learning how to live without alcohol, we simply boil our blood and then return it.
Yeah. But seriously, yeah, I mean, even Warwick, like, almost, it was kind of a different tone than a lot of what he talked about that was really grounded in, like, the research they were doing. But then he seemed to shift into almost like a fantasizing tone when he talked about, our bodies failing and, blah, blah, blah. And imagine transporting your entire, like, being into a body that doesn't, have a time, like, that doesn't decay and fail and hurt.
Yeah.
But, pain might just be what makes us most human of all.
Wow. Talk to the Stones.
Come on back.
I was thinking about when we were talking about sleep, the 3 Days Grace song, I Am Machine, he famously says, I am machine, I never sleep, I keep my eyes wide open. Anyways, folks, cyborgs, are they coming?
Yes.
Are you going to become one? Yes, absolutely. Just remember, resistance is futile. Producer Jim on the guitar. Michelangelo, what did you draw us? Show us what you drew.
I'm gonna stop saying it's bad and just assume y'all know that.
Hey!
Hell yeah, my guy. I want to see if my mom replied. I asked her earlier if I died suddenly and they made. Oh, I asked her, would you be proud of me if I died suddenly, but they made me into a RoboCop? But very nicely done.
You know, in the future, our cyborg implants, you'll be able to, the prophet will speak in all of us very directly.
Literally.
We'll just beam PSR directly into people's bodies. If you are on the Patreon.
Yeah, that's a subscription.
Yeah. All right, did we get it? How do we feel about that one?